It should be, yeah, there you go.
All
There
right,
we go.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 17th ever episode of the Failing to Success in Multifamily show, a podcast where we appreciate, discuss, and reflect on the setbacks real estate investors have had leading up to their success. And today, I'm very, very excited about our guests. I have the privilege and honor to have Tim Woodbridge on as a guest. I got
Thank
introduced
you.
to him through the Deal Room, a real estate networking mentorship Facebook group. Link in the show notes. Tim is an absolute rock star, first of all. Let me say that. He has used the power of real estate to go from working full time as a nurse to a full time real estate investor. Okay. Tim mostly focuses on mobile home parks and currently has 69 units under ownership and in the process of closing 124 more units, which is amazing. Like that's what you call scale right there. Um, Anyways, I can't wait for you all to hear his journey, his successes, but most of all, and the reason why we're here today, his failures as he continues to reach his goals within multifamily. Tim, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey man, thanks for having me. It's good to be here. I was like reflecting on my failures.
Hey, with the highs come the lows, with the lows come the highs, man. But you
Oh man,
have
yeah.
had something tells me that you have had a lot more highs than lows and a lot more highs to come. So, Tim, let's jump into it, man. First of all, I think I did a pretty bad job at introducing you. So please let us know who Tim is.
Okay. No, you did a great job. I was a nurse for 8.5 years. I mean, I'm still a nurse. I'm just not a practicing nurse. I quit almost a year ago. Um, Yeah, I got into mobile home parks at the end, well, in like 2019, I got into mobile home parks. The story behind that is, you know, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Everyone reads Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yes.
And it was like life-changing to me, right? Because I grew up and so my mom spent everything, my dad saved everything. So both of those ways, not so keen on getting wealthy, right? So yeah, it was eye-opening. I had no idea, like the word asset, the word liability, those were new words to me. And in the book, they're very basic. The way he describes them are very basic. But again, it was new. So I said, okay, this makes sense. And from there, I just read a lot, listened to a lot of podcasts, a lot of bigger pockets. I One of the podcast episodes of Bigger Pockets had Frank Rolfe on it, and he is like one of the biggest mobile home park guys in the country. I think the fifth largest, I want to say, or that's what he says on his podcast. But anyway, so he said he described mobile home parks and why he liked them, and I was on the fence. I didn't know where to begin, I didn't know what to do. But that resonated with me. I said, okay, I like this. Let's do this. And so I read, and I learned all I could about them. And I one of my nurse friends, so a nurse friend who I was talking with about like, hey, we should both start in real estate sort of thing. He said, hey, I was looking online. I found this mobile home park for sale. It's an hour, a little over an hour from where we live, in Charleston, South Carolina. It's it's in this little town, but like, we know some people from this little town who commute here. So check this out. And I told him, yeah, like make contact, get all the information. Let's see if we can do something with it. And he wasn't so keen on that. And so I decided to, I looked it up on Mobile Home Park Store that had all the information for this guy because he listed it himself.
Mm.
And so the details of this park, it was 10 of 36 pads were occupied, and the guy wanted a lot more for it. And, it just wasn't moving for a while. And that's one of the things that I'll look for. If it's not moving, it's like, okay, there's a conversation to be had here. So I called him, nothing. Like it was to voicemail. So I sent him a text. And I just said, hey, my name's Tim, Tim Woodbridge. I'm looking for whoever owns this park. Do I have the right person? If so, please give me a call back. And a lot of this story was, so when he called me back, a lot of this was building rapport. So, I still know a lot of things about this guy. I mean, I'm a nurse. He's a retired pharmacist. His daughter is a physician up in Chicago, as is her husband. I know the types of physician they are. My brain just remembers stuff like that. But it was just a great conversation. And I said, when can can you show me the park? And we set up an appointment. And I drove there, and I was super scared because I knew that I was going to offer way lower. And I based everything off of kind of what Frank Rolfe says, you base it off of the lot rent. And so he wanted close to $400,000, but per the lot rent, per it's commercial real estate, per the net operating income, it was only worth like low hundreds, right? At least that's what I thought. I was totally I look back on that now and I know where I was wrong, but I still went in thinking, knowing that I'd have to offer him super low. And so he showed me the park. It was really nice. And then he went and he bought me lunch in town.
Oh, wow.
And we were just talking, and I, got all my notes, and I said, first of all, I'm really sorry. This isn't anywhere near what you want. But this is the reasoning why I can offer this, and so I told him, you have this many occupied lots. This is your lot rent. This is the money you're bringing in. And so I offered him 114, we'll say something like that. Something egregiously low. I knew it was egregiously low. I knew that. And that was, I was super nervous about it, but I knew that it had to be a lot lower. And so he came back, he said, no, we can't do that. He said, I couldn't take any less than 250. And I said, 250? He said, yeah. I said, okay, if I can get you 250, do we have a deal? And he said, yeah. And so I didn't even have anything extra to sign for 250. I don't think I was so, this was so new to me. And I said, okay, I'll make it happen. And so I went home and I talked to some friends who would know how to close it. And, that's basically how haphazardly I failed into this. I didn't have any contracts. I didn't have anything, man. I just did it. And then,
that's awesome.
When they needed the attorney needed something, then I'd get something signed by him, but it was very haphazard.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the beginning of my mobile home park story.
So you actually ended up closing on that deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I wish I could see that contract. I feel like it was written on a napkin or something.
I honestly, I don't think so. I know that I prepared a contract for $116,000, but I don't think I had anything blank with empty things written in so I could, or empty spaces so I could just write 250 in. I feel like we just verbal contracted it, right?
Yeah. That's amazing.
Now I know that that'd be crazy. He would have said it time kills deals, right?
Yeah.
But at this time, it worked in my favor for, the cards were in my favor.
That's awesome. We jumped a few steps here, so I want to take it.
I did. I totally did.
A little bit. But I love the way that you're able to build rapport with the seller, right? As you mentioned, you still remember various things about him, his family, and his previous career, which is amazing.
I still text him on Christmas and I say, Merry Christmas,
Wow.
Hope you and your family are doing well. And I mean, if there's any issues with the park,
Yeah.
Every once in a while I'll ask him and he'll be like, oh yeah, like this is this.
Yeah.
So it's not just like we're done with the transaction, this is it, we're going our separate ways. It's like, no,
Yeah.
you gotta stay
Absolutely.
on people's good side. You gotta make allies, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I see a lot of similarities, not only with the ways that you and I both started, but also the like our approach in acquisition, right? Similar to you, I tend to take a very non-transactional approach, and I speak about this all the time to where, um, especially starting out as a younger investor, to me, learning is more important than closing deals at this time, right? Like I would take more of a learning path rather than closing more deals, right? So when I approach off market sellers, similar to you, I like to get to know them first, their stories, their track record, because I tend to gain a lot more value out of that, right? And it seems like that's what you did for this transaction as well, right? You were super transparent. You went, you really took the right approach in wanting to build a relationship first, which is probably why he was able to come down, because he was at 400,000, he came down to 250, right? Which is probably the reason, why you were able to get such a discount. And similar to you as well, Tim, I also started out, reading Rich Dad Poor Dad. Eye opening, right? Mindset shifter. But what I want to ask you, right, is so you go through the learning phase, you read Rich Dad Poor Dad, you go through the learning phase of, reading books, listening to podcasts. Talk to me about what was that transition like for you? The learning transition. And as you know, in multifamily, it's a big networking space, right? You don't really get anywhere without networking. So how was that transition for you, and how was that process for you like?
Um, I mean, so yeah, like every week I would go to a local RIA and I would ask my questions there, because it was all new to me. And, everyone was very helpful. I find that every RIA I've been to, everyone's been super, super helpful. I don't know if it's a RIA thing or if it's a Charleston thing.
Probably both.
If it's a Southern thing, I don't know, man, but everyone's very, very kind.
Nice.
Uh, but yeah, like, I mean, I I don't, there was never like like, okay, I'm going from just learning to just doing. Like
Right.
it's all wrapped up together,
Mhm.
Like, I mean, I still listen to mobile home park podcasts. I still learn stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and I still network with people. I mean, the third Thursday of every month, I try to go up to Charlotte where there's a mobile home park meetup. That's a 3 hour drive for a 2 hour meetup. I do that.
That's awesome.
Um, I mean, I try to go to the local as many meetups around here and just network with people. I talk to everyone. I read everything I can. It's a lot of like learning, a lot of reading, and then a lot
Yeah.
of applying what you read, and then a lot of messing up, and then a lot of doing better, and a
Yeah.
lot of asking people like, what did I do wrong, and then fixing it.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
I like it's all about failing, that this is all about failing to success, because that's how I do things, man. Like, the people at the first RIA, they laugh and say, basically, I started going, and then within a year I had a mobile home park. And I don't know, there's part of me is just action.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, okay, think like I accept that there will always be that black swan. There will always be that thing that you don't know, you don't see coming. Um, but I have faith in myself that when I get there, that I will be able to figure it out, or I will be able to reach out to someone to help. So yeah, it's a continuous thing, right?
That's awesome. That's awesome. And what I also find fascinating about your story, and which is why I wanted to have you have you on the show is you were able to essentially, quit your position, right? Which is, to a lot of people, that's the end all be all. Quit the W-2 in order to have the freedom, the time freedom to be able to go into real estate full time or whichever venture they want to go into, right? So I'm really interested to find out is, when did you know? When did you know that it was time to pivot, and to really jump in?
When when I hated my job enough and I had enough cash saved up, to be honest, that's okay. So as a nurse, I stopped doing bedside nursing, which I had done for a while, and I pivoted to dialysis, outpatient dialysis nursing.
Yeah.
And the thing with that job is it would be really, really good and really, really easy, to be honest, if they staffed it well, but they just never staffed it well. So I was working two people's jobs, and it was just a hustle like the whole time.
Yeah.
Like it was running around for 10 plus hours a day, 9 plus hours a day, whatever. And I was just grumpy because I was like, this is stupid. Why am I having to pick up slack continuously for this company that, like, clearly their system's not working? If they can't keep people working, or they, if it's constantly short staffed, there's something that's not working. And I had I was what, a year and a half, I think I had the mobile home park, and we had so we refinanced and like totally raised the value of the park, paid all the money back to everyone, to me and my partner. And I was just like, look, man, so I sold my condo because it was a good time to sell. So I was just sitting on some cash, and I was like, if I don't do this now, I'm never going to do it. And like, I hate this job. I hate going to it, and I don't need to. So I'm going to quit, and I'll figure something out. I don't have anything, I had one mobile home park, and it wasn't really bringing in much money. And that was it. I was just like, I'm going to figure this out, because if I don't, then I'm just going to be angry. I don't want to be angry. There's no need for that,
Love that, man. What one of the things that really stands out as we're talking, and something that really resonates with me, is how much of an action taker you are. I think that's something that not a lot of people have, is that undeniable faith in themselves, one, and two is the action component of it. Some people tend to believe in themselves but not take action. I think you have a great combination of both, which is truly, truly admiring. So, man, let's dive back into the deal. I want to know the nitty gritty. Like, I want to know, you are able to close on the deal. What happens next? Like, what were some of the biggest challenges about the deal, and how did you overcome it?
Well, shoot. Okay, so the first deal. So I used to have two partners, and one partner ended up stealing from us. So like, let's talk about failing to success, man. He just, he was part of the operating account. We had a cap line. I, took out money from the cap line to put into the operating account for different expenses, and all of a sudden that money was gone. All of a sudden there were charges on his credit card for Outback Steakhouse and stupid crap like that. And, I confronted him, and he's basically like, well, this is just a business account. If it, like, he just all sorts of lies, all sorts of BS, and trying to make it like, oh, like, this is what I should get for my job, and or like, if we don't pay it back, we'll just close the account. It's not part of your personal credit. All sorts of dumb lies, right? So this was early 2020. Just a lot of drama. So me and my partner now, so it was, like I said, it was the three of us, and he had stolen from us, and it was a lot of nastiness, trying to get him to just quit, trying to get him to resign, and going to attorneys and seeing what recourse we had, and nothing, man. Like it, yeah, we didn't have anything.
Now, this was your first deal?
Mhm,
This was the
mhm,
first one. Man, to
mhm.
a lot of people, you know, most of the time it's something that goes wrong with the deal itself, right? Either unexpected repairs or you know,
We
some
had that too. We had
right,
that too.
right. But you actually experienced something that was a little deeper, which was actually something foundational within the partnership itself.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
man, so you find that a partner was stealing, and then, you know, how how did that impact the deal itself? And then along those lines, with the challenges that you encountered within the deal, what were those challenges, and how did you overcome, um, like any capex items that were unexpected?
Sure, sure. So I mean, with the partner,
Yeah.
it was it just added a lot of a tremendous amount of tension, a lot of sleepless nights, right? I do want to say, if you have a bad feeling about someone, listen to it. I had a bad feeling about him. My girlfriend at the time had a bad feeling about him, but I was like, well, no, I mean, he might be this way towards other people, but he won't be that way towards me, which is stupid. I know that now. Um, but so a lot of that before he left, a lot of that was um, trying to make it so it didn't lead to the financial ruin of the deal, right?
Mhm.
Um, so thankfully, I was like the principal person on the account, so I could block him. But still, I couldn't block him from the checking account. Um, so Okay, so we opened this checking account to make it so the tenants could direct deposit into the bank. It's a small town and it's a mobile home park, and I wanted to make it as easy as possible. I never wanted to accept cash, checks, money orders, none of that. So, here's the operating account. Deposit directly into that. So, a lot of it was like right away having to tell all these tenants like, hey, um, you know, I know that you just started depositing into this one account. Let's deposit it into this other number account
Oh, wow.
because this guy doesn't have access to this new account, only the old one.
And that was
Um,
six. Like, how many units was that, and how many residents did you have to tell to make that transition?
so there were 10 that so 10 were on our land, but
Mm.
like in the whole mobile home park. So the mobile home park's all these deeded lots, right? Say
Mhm.
there's 44 or so deeded lots. No, there's more than that. But anyway, of all these deeded lots, we own 36. And then there's probably another 30 people who get water from us. So we get one master bill from the city, and then like all the pipes underground we own.
Mm.
So, it's probably 30, 40 people that I had to kind of just contact again and be like, please don't pay there. Please don't pay there.
Wow.
And so it was a lot of me just chasing things and trying to get ahead of things before it was an issue. And for the most part, I did well. It
Yeah,
was a hustle. I super hustled because I didn't want to get stolen from anymore, but I did it, you know.
that's awesome.
Um, which leads me into the first CapEx issue. So early 2020, a tenant texts me and says, like they showed me there's some sewage coming up. And
Mm.
I was like, holy crap, I have punny, but I was like, I have no idea what to do. Um, so I call a plumber, and this plumber totally rips us off. It's something that was probably a $1,000 expense, like fix, and he charges me like $7,800. And I don't know at the time. Like, this is not my forte, and I'm just figuring stuff out. So, I pay him, and this guy says, he's like, well, all these pipes in this park are bad. You're gonna need to replace them all. So I'm thinking, he says it's going to be like $150,000, and I'm just stressing. I don't know how we're going to do it. I don't know what.
Serious?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
fortunately, I reached out to my friend who has a lot more experience in mobile home parks than me, and he said, "You don't have to do that." He said, water sewer pipes, you fix as needed. You like if there's a break, you fix that. You don't need to replace everything.
Yeah.
But I use that story to try to get the ex-partner who was stealing from us. Basically I said, hey, we have this really big expense. We got to replace all the plumbing. Actually, I think it was more like $75,000 instead of 150. But still, it was a lot of money. I said,
That
we're all
is.
going to have to do a capital call. It's $75,000. We all got to put money in so we can take care of this. And I knew that we weren't going to do that. But, I was just trying to get this guy out any way possible. And everything up to that point had not worked. And anyway, so he said, he in the group text between me and my current partner and him said, well, I'm not making any money off this anyway, so I'm just going to get out of it. And, I had already talked to an attorney, so I already had the documents ready. I sent it to him, his resignation from the LLC. So I sent it to him. He put in some addendum, like, he was not responsible for any of the debts of the LLC or any debts that he incurred. And, whatever, I signed that. And so did my current partner, and he was out. He was gone. So we basically pick up, and I can't think off the top of my head exactly how much, but we were in the hole probably a solid $12,000, right? And so it was just, okay, well, how can we make this back? What can we do?
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I mean, a lot of little things, right? A lot of little things. And then COVID hit, and Legacy Homes said, we will finance these homes 100% to any park owners who have any vacancy. So we got 7 of them. We paid for setup. They sent them to us. We paid for setup. We got people into them. We leased with an option to purchase. It raised the value. So the value at close of the mobile home park per appraisal was $355, right? I bought it for $250, appraised at $355.
That's awesome.
After getting those homes in and filled, and I think I had one organic move in. So I went from 10 of 36 to 18 of 36. So the value of the park went to 570. So, because we refied, and we paid ourselves back. We paid all the debts back, and that took care of that $12,000. And now I'm half owner of this, and we just got 6 more homes in. So same thing. It's just raising the value little by little.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, despite that hardship, like I said, I've got 50% ownership of this park, and I've ran it successfully, more than successfully, for 2.5 years,
Yeah.
almost 3 years.
That's amazing. First deal too.
Yeah, dude.
And
So much drama, so much stupid drama.
and I remember that you had mentioned a partnership going sour, but I didn't know that it was that bad. But man, like the fact that you were able to overcome this and still come out on top, and very well, right? Because you not only paid yourself, but you also paid off your investors fully, correct?
So investors, this was a JV deal, right?
Right, right.
So my current partner, Nate, brought 25,000. So the breakdown, right? Bought for 250. Got a bank loan from a friend of the old owner, who is vice president of a local bank.
Yep.
So got a bank loan for 70%, or $175,000. Had the old owner carry back $50,000 interest only.
Nice.
Nate brought 25, and I brought closing, which was 61, 6,200.
Hmm.
So,
Nice.
you know, not too much out of pocket, but yeah, I mean, we've been paid back. All of the money we put into it, we've been paid back.
That's
So,
amazing. What a great turnaround, man. And I can't even imagine, you know, what you what you must have been going through mentally at the time. And that leads us to the next segment of the show, which is mindset. Now I'm really interested to dive into your mindset because, man, a lot of people would have completely, gone off track with that first, that first experience and the first deal too. I mean, that is not easy. So, how did you keep yourself motivated, Tim, to actually get through the challenges that you encountered throughout that deal?
I don't know. If I'm starting something, I just see it through. Like, um, I guess I never saw quitting as an option, and not like, that sounds tougher than it is, but it's just like, okay, like this is what I have to do.
Yeah,
Like there's no,
if
I
and the
can't
buts.
not do it.
Yeah,
What am
exactly.
I gonna do? I'm gonna get a foreclosure on my record. No, it sucks sometimes. It totally sucks, but this is what I have to do.
Love it. Love it. And that brings us back directly into what I mentioned really early on in our conversation is you're an action taker, and action takers, um, you know, they 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 look at the cards that are dealt in front of them and they don't turn back. They just keep on going forward and do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So a simple question for you is, what is one word that would describe you, Tim, when the going gets tough? If you had to pick one.
Uh, God, I really should have looked at your questions beforehand.
Oh, it's all good.
Um, I don't know, man. Tenacious, I guess.
Yes.
It's just like shit happens and it's going to happen. I told this to people like new grads in nursing, stuff's gonna happen. You're gonna mess up, and just do your best to make it not too bad. And just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Uh, be kind to yourself. Accept that you're gonna fail, and accept that you're gonna do the wrong stuff, and that's okay.
Love it.
No one's perfect. You're not going to be perfect. Like perfection is the enemy of progress, right?
Yes. Love that.
So just accept, do the best you can and just keep going, and learn as you go. Learn as you go.
Love it. That's an amazing lesson that a lot of individuals can learn from. Um, despite your experiences in life or in real estate, what Tim said here is truly valuable. Learn as you go. Don't worry about being perfect because if we take a look at Tim here as an example, somebody who in his first deal went through probably, and this is probably the in my opinion, one of the most nerve-wracking thing um, that anybody on the show so far has discussed or has told or has shared as part of their first deal. Um, and Tim is a great example. I mean, now he is about to close on 124 units, which
No. So I'm closing on 55. So my total will be 124,
perfect.
right?
So he's
But
close.
I'm passing the 100 mark. That's what's cool.
Exactly, right? And you know, somebody who is at now over 100 units is sharing with you the challenges that he went through to get to that point, right? And there's always going to be challenges, but you just have to be tenacious like Tim is, and keep taking action forward. So, um, Tim, man, I've really enjoyed our conversation here. Man, you are an absolute rock star. I never actually knew what you like your story up until today, which is amazing. Thanks so much for sharing that. That brings us to the final segment of our show here, which is finding out more about your goals for the rest of the year, right? So, what do you have cooking? What, second half of the year, what do you have going on? What are your goals?
So we close on that park tomorrow. Getting it that in shape, right? So getting everyone Well, we got 3 months left. So yeah, getting everyone so they're paying online, or so they're paying in the new system. The old owner collects, like she goes there and collects the like cash and checks and money orders, blah blah blah, whatever. The stuff that I really don't want to do and I refuse to do. So just getting the systems in place, and that's the best thing about the first park, is it has taught me the importance of getting good systems. And like, you know, I don't spend much time dealing with my first park. I don't spend much time dealing with my second park, you know, like everything is a text away or everything is an email away. Wasn't always like that, but it is now, because I put those good systems in place. So I'm going to do what I know and do that with this new park.
Love that.
And, you know, I'm always looking for new parks, always looking for new projects, and, you know, just keeping myself busy, man.
Beautiful, beautiful. And there's no doubt in my mind that by the end of this year, I mean, this park is going to be running a lot smoother than it is now. And, you know, the business plan is going to come to fruition. And I'm excited to actually hear about it with, you know, within the next few months. So, man, what is one thing that would help you in your business right now? One thing or one person that would help you in your business right now?
Probably a VA assistant, you know.
Okay.
Someone more time. I always need more time.
Yeah.
One of the best things that I learned, and I learned this while I was at that mobile home park meetup in Charlotte. Ryan Naris, by the way, if you're into mobile home parks, check out his podcast. Check him out. He knows this stuff with mobile home parks. Yeah, so I was up there and I was talking to someone and I was telling him about my processes, and he said, you need to get like a bookkeeper, you know, because I was doing it all myself. I'm not a bookkeeper. I'm not like great with details. I'm good with systems, but I'm not great with all the details. And so he said, like, go get a VA bookkeeper. And I did, and it was one of the best things I've ever done. And so much of my time that was spent on monotonous stuff is he's doing it, and he's great, and he's in Bangladesh, and he's super cheap, but like he's super proficient, and so I use him, and that has led me to you know, utilize more people instead of having to do everything myself. So in my second park, I have a boots on the ground manager, you know, someone who gets free lot rent and just does a little stuff. I have meetings with her once a week. At my first park, I now have the same. I've got a boots on the ground person with free lot rent, just does a little stuff. Just all these things taking off my plate so I can focus more on things that make me more money and are more meaningful. So
who not how I think you know that's
great book.
Yeah, exactly. That's the key, right? Working on the business and not in it. And I think you know, with what you've gone through, right? The challenges that you've gone through, I think that's one of the biggest takeaways that you have learned, right? And it's amazing to see you actually applying you know, your past experiences to your future success. So, man, Tim, you are a rock star. Thanks again for your time. Final question for you. Final question for you, Tim, is where can people connect with you?
Okay, so I'm like super transparent. I don't hide myself. I'm Tim Woodbridge on Facebook, Tim.Woodbridge on Instagram. Email me at my last name, Woodbridge, WOODBRIDGEREI @gmail.com. Let's do mobile home park deals together. Or if you got a question, you know, reach out. Shoot, my phone number is 928-460-0602. Call or text, man. I'm easy. I'm easy to talk to, you know. Laid back. I'm a Californian. That's probably, you know, has something to do with it. But yeah, I'm always down to help. I'm always down to talk mobile home parks. I'm always down to, you know, try and take something down with someone. You know, I just like good connections. So
beautiful, beautiful. And I will put all of your contact information in the show notes, guys. If you are looking to learn more about mobile home park investing, or if you're looking to invest passively in mobile home parks, which is a great asset class, especially in the recessionary market that we're heading into right now, please reach out to Tim. As you heard, he is an operator. He is doing this, and he's now putting great systems and processes in place to actually scale up. So this is the perfect time to actually connect with him, as he is going to be going to the moon in the next few years. So make sure you grab your seats, folks, because there won't be any more. Anyways, Tim, it's been amazing having you on. Guys, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been Albertini Colin with Tim, Mobile Home Park Rockstar Woodbridge, signing off.
Thank you so much.